Welcome to Java, and thank you kindly for joining. It is November 12th, 2025. It is also Wednesday, which is Discord Day. Now, we've got possible government recovery day, or at least looking forward to it again. We'll be talking a few things going on at the White House, and let's get started with what's going on in the markets because there's quite a bit going on. The agreed meter still at 32, so it hasn't changed much from yesterday. So still kind of looking in that haze, even though there was a good day yesterday, green day for Wall Street. The sentiment is still a little bit hesitant. That tells a lot. We've got the 10-year yield above 4%. However, it is down. So it looks like there is some bond buying in anticipation. There is 10-year auction today. Talk about that more in a moment. Relative strength of the dollar holding, in particular against the euro. We've got a play on the dollar bonds as well as Japanese bonds, kind of a carry trade. So we've got money flowing also back into cryptocurrencies. Little bit more risk on, however, we're showing a little bit of divergence. So cryptocurrencies up, but gold is also up, and the future showing a bit of a green open. Well, for everything except for oil, that is. We'll talk about that a bit too. So volatility index is down. We've got the futures looking kind of weak, but still green on open. Now, our daily driver, as it has been for a little while now, is quote unquote everything diverging. This is from Mid Wall Street Banker and talking more about the K-shaped economies becoming a little bit more of the languages there, accepting the fact that we are going to a two-tier society. There is the lower end, which is suffering again, not able to afford things or keep up with inflation, being squeezed out, the ones that had the issues with the EBT payments, and you've got those that are on the upper end, which now the economy is catering to because they're the only ones that are going to be driving spending forward. And they're also the target for where the government is looking at kind of pushing out. So we've got a dinner at the White House tonight. Invited are a lot of the top end of Wall Street as well as some big bankers. Now, these are the things that go on behind the scenes. There's a lot of funding that they're talking about. The ballroom has kind of dropped out of conversations, but that has already happened, and we're going to see more of that coming forward. So this is, in essence, a bit of private lobbying, if you will, and these are the ones that get the deals. Cantillon effect, full effect. So we've got the Dow up more than 550 points yesterday. This was all about the government possibly reopening soon. They signed this in, so it should happen. They're all expecting Friday, but most likely before then. We do have a 10-year yield, 10-year bond auction today. We'll be watching the 10-year yield. So this is kind of opening this carry trade, as they're saying, both between the United States as well as Japan. As this yield is down, it appears that they are buying into the bond market. The large money is because they're expecting the percentages to come down, the yield to come down. So that, as that happens, is a shift of capital out of the stock markets, even if only temporarily. So we'll be watching that because if that does indeed happen, could shift the stock market where it is right now. So not just that, but we've also got this does create another issue between Japan and what can happen. So we've got to watch them as well. Now we've got a power shift, and this is literal power as far as energy. I want to talk a little bit going to West Texas for the data centers. They're got data centers globally, but for the United States, they're looking at concentrating them there now. And there's two main reasons. The first is that Texas has an independent power grid. Second is that they are the largest producer of oil for the United States, along with Alaska, which is not in the lower 50, if you will, so to speak. So talking about peak oil again, because oil, as you can see, is the loser. They're talking about it going lower. However, they are depending on nuclear power going forward. but they need time to build this out. So it hasn't caught up with this. The whole quantum arguments and all of the data center arguments based down to the reality of not having enough power at the moment. So I believe oil is going to step in and fill that gap. Currently, China is using coal to fill that gap, which is how they're winning this battle currently. So shifting off of power into kind of perceived power, we'll talk about Christine Lagarde, is going to succeed Powell as the chair of two BIS economic panels. Now, BIS is Bank of International Settlements. They are the bank of banks above that you never get to see, talk about, or have any effect on whatsoever. They are the silent man behind the curtain, if you will. So this way you generally don't hear about a lot of what is going on there. But Lagarde is consolidating her power there, so to speak. They're going to be moving forward. All of these things tying together are to move to this digital currency shift so that they can concentrate this power and control. So we've got with this China accusing the United States of a $14 billion Bitcoin theft. I believe that Bitcoin could be one way to sidestep what they've got planned for us, as well as precious metals and the price at the moment being suppressed could go a bit lower. It's got a few things, but doesn't necessarily have to. Not financial advice. There could be better entry prices. We've got some other things going on with the, if you will, the privacy coins. Good idea to own some of those. They have shot up. I've had a few people ask me about those. So let's just move into the calendar. All it is, in short, is Fed speakers. So this is all psychological manipulation, which is what the market runs on. Anyway, Thursday, we're supposed to be getting some reports. They're not coming. So we're going to be running blind and just kind of going off their opinions. Couple of market bits. We've got IBM coming out with what they're calling the Loon chip. This is specifically designed for quantum computing. So in direct competition with Google, we'll see how this goes. We've got Affirm. If you're not familiar with them, the short term, buy now, pay later company. Now, the top of this company is Levchin. He is an original PayPal Mafia person and is talking about pairing these short term loans with artificial intelligence. This is going to mean controlled spending. So, what they're going to look at is look at your history, what you shop for, and kind of help you shop. It's supposed to be this massive boost for you shopping and boost the retailers. But in short, if you can't afford it, or you don't have good credit or something else, they can deny you for any of the shopping and control the spending that way. So it's going to just increase from here. So we want to look at what's going on in the real economy. Mortgages, real estate, we're looking at reverse mortgages are on a boost. So this is for older Americans as they start having a financial difficulty, their homes are paid off. They're now getting loans or new mortgages. In short, is what they are against their homes so that they can survive with their daily life. That is not the way. That is reverse of what you want to be doing for longer term. You want to get your assets to pay you in a different way. So for the most part, reverse mortgages are an issue and show stress in the economy. So with this, we've got Mohammed El Arian. He is major economist talking about that markets should pay heed to the affordability squeeze. This again goes back to the K-shaped economy. Affordability squeeze is only for the lower end. But what is happening in the warning that he's giving is about the political pressure in response to the public anxiety. So creating a problem, pressure the politicians and beg for the solution as people will demand policy responses. How do these policy responses come in? More control. It's the only way the government does anything, not with efficiency and not with improvement, instead of leaving it to the open markets. So, open markets, as I've said before, being driven by war. the Navy's largest aircraft carrier, has now arrived down in Latin American waters, right off of Venezuela. This is all of the bombings that they've been doing under the name of stopping the drug trade. So Venezuela doesn't like this too much. They're mobilizing in order to counter these attacks and things that are going on. Colombia also does not like this. So Bogota has now condemned the attacks and has cut any intel sharing with the United States because of these going on. But this is going to drive this continuous war, which is driving the economy. And anybody that thinks this is incorrect, all we have to do is take a look at Germany. Now, German arms giant, of course, this is Rheinmetall, the one that the United States boosted just less than a year ago. They are reporting booming sales and profits. Now, if you look across this, they're manufacturing, they're talking about expanding production, 13 different sites. They're looking at a new plant in Lithuania and planning one in Latvia as well as Bulgaria. So they're saying that Ukraine, EU, and Germany remain their core markets. So, being that Ukraine is core market for this massive business, do not expect peace anytime soon in that sector. It just wouldn't make financial sense. This whole thing back to the setup, as I've talked about before, we are going to this digital currency. Coinbase launching business in Singapore as the first international market. Now, key in here, USDC stablecoin payments is what they're using. Now, JP Morgan also rolling out their JPM coin on Coinbase. This is coming out live, and they're going to make this a direct interconnect with USDC. Now, once they all get their own chains and coins up, all they have to do is interlink them. So we are mere steps away from this whole rollout. And if you need proof of something larger company, Visa. Visa is testing their stablecoin payouts. They're looking at paying out creators and gig workers in what? None other than USDC, of course. So their pilot is now letting businesses send dollar-backed, in air quotes, stablecoins to these creators. So this is all going to be tracked. It's going to be, of course, for our safety and security will be surveilled. It will be instantly taxed, and you will not have any control of it. And the silent continued tax that they can increase or decrease at will, that you never voted on, is going to continue. What is that, of course? Inflation. So with this, wish you all a wonderful day. Keep stocking your assets. We're going to need them very soon. And until I see you again, my friends, resist.